Welcome to the Town of Fairfield Shellfish Commission meeting, March 6, 2022.
March 9th.
Sorry, March 9th. I was going to wear my glasses. March 9th. We have a quorum. Present are John Short, Tim Macklin, Cindy Wakeman on the phone, Lizette Enhofer, and Bruce Kiefner. And call to order. So we're going to go directly to informational because we have some guests here tonight. And that is the Ash Creek Conservancy? Conservation Association. Sean Cohen present. So I introduce Gail Robinson and Rick Landau.
Okay, well, thank you for letting us join your meeting tonight. We share a mutual interest in the health of the lower part of the Ash Creek tidal estuary, which is a natural shellfish area. The health of the tidal estuary is in jeopardy, and we want to share that information with you. Our organization, the Ash Creek Conservation Association, commissioned a study last year to determine how fast the sand spit is eroding. And I think you're all familiar with the sand spit. It's right at the channel where you can either go to the left and go to the marina or take a right and you're in Ash Creek and your shellfish area, one of your shellfish areas. So we wanted to see how fast the sand spit was eroding and to project that rate of erosion into the future. We knew that the rate was high, but we didn't know that the sand spit was in danger of disappearing completely within 15 years, or even sooner as a severe storm hit like a hurricane. We're going to give you a quick overview of the issues, and if you open the book, got the slides there, because obviously we can't do a PowerPoint for you. We're going to give you a quick overview of the issues and direct you to a website with documents so you can dig into it further if you like. We want to be respectful of your time. You've got a lot on your agenda tonight. So if you turn to the second page, you'll see the one that says Ash Creek Master Plan 2012. Many of you don't know who we are or what we do, so I just want to quickly explain our role. We've served as a grassroots environmental organization to protect this area for the past 18 years. We also conduct Tier 1 and Tier 2 water quality monitoring studies in Bridgeport for Safe and Sound under an EPA-funded program called the Unified Water Study. Right now we do Black Rock Harbor, and next year we're moving into Bridgeport Harbor. Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Right, okay, that's right.
We're 22.
You're right. We recently restored a 1.7-acre marine forest at St. Mary's by the Sea in Bridgeport in partnership with the City of Bridgeport's Parks Department, and I'm sure you've probably been able to see that over at St. Mary's. Mm-hmm. Our primary focus, however, is the protection and restoration of the Ash Creek tidal estuary. And in 2012, we did a big master plan. We hired two scientists, Brian Quinn of One Nature and Steve Danzer, who's a wetland and soil scientist, and they did an 86-page scientific analysis with recommendations on how to protect and restore the Ash Creek tidal estuary. And this has guided our activities. This report also served as a base for the Rooster River watershed, and we were on the steering committee for that plan as well. And both of these plans are kind of dated. They need to be updated. We're hoping to update our plan this year and to get the Rooster River watershed plan updated next year, going up to grant money. So if you turn to the next page, you'll see what the sand spit looked like in 2011. And that's the sand spit, the aerial photography as we've come to know it for many, many years. It hasn't changed changed much until recently. And if you turn to 2021, you can see a dramatic difference between in that 10-year period. So during that 10-year period, the sandspit eroded significantly. It's shorter due to a combination of soil removal by dredging and erosion from the dredging. And it's also narrower due to erosion, and that has a couple of things involved in that, which I'll get into later. If you turn to the next page, you'll see this came out of that study that we hired the scientists who did our master plan. We have them come back and figure out exactly how much erosion was taking place during a 10-year period. And they found a 60-foot linear retreat over a 10-year period from 2006 to 2016. So they were frankly shocked by the results of their analysis. And we were shocked. We all knew there was erosion, but we didn't realize just how much until we measured it. And it's also important to note that the average height of the sandspit is lower. The high point is still 10 feet, but the rest, the average height, has diminished. And the high point is retreating away from the shoreline. So there's less high land, the washover by storms with lower wave heights is now possible. And that's what happens in Irene and Sandy. Now, if you go to the next page, you'll see this is a summary of the sandspit changes. Based on the current rate of erosion, the scientists predicted the sandspit to disappear by 2036 or sooner if there was a major storm event. They also noticed erosion on Great Marsh Island. And the sandspit had been stable from the 17th century until the 1950s. Of course, when Fairfield built the jetty and the marina in the 50s, the sandspit began to lose sand, and in part that's due to the jetty preventing sand from migrating down the shoreline. But it's primarily due to the maintenance dredging that Fairfield has to do to keep the channel open for boat traffic. To make matters worse, the sand taken away from the channel and cut away from the sandspit has been deposited onto Jennings Beach instead of being put back into the tidal wetlands and building up the sandspit. In a meeting last year with Bill Hurley and Tim Bishop, they said Fairfield would consider putting the sand back onto the sandspit instead of Jennings Beach. So we feel like we're making progress. But the 2019 dredging was a really aggressive one, and that caused tremendous erosion on the sandspit. But it still was within the guidelines of the DEP permit, so we couldn't do anything about it. Over the years, Fairfield has gained the right to a wider and deeper channel because the boats are getting bigger. And the marina's getting bigger, 400 boats now. Recent permits allow for a 100-foot wide channel, which cuts deeply into the sandspit. So the next page is about Great Marsh Island and the changes there. We've lost about 25,000 square feet of intertidal marsh between 1991 and 2020. They've hypothesized about could this be caused by wave action, due to the reduction in the size of the barrier spit? Is it traffic, from more boats coming in and out of the marina? I don't know, but the fact is that the sandspit is eroding. And we've alerted Aspetuck Land Trust to that because they own half of Great Marsh Island, and Fairfield owns the Fairfield side. It's open space for Fairfield. Causes of erosion. Well, we can go back to filling in of the wetlands and building on reclaimed land, That's occurred over the past 70 years. Take a look at the 1951 aerial view on the next page. You see a beautiful, lush tidal estuary, very few buildings, and that was taken before the jetty and the marina were built and all of the development, for the houses on Fairfield Beach and even a lot over along Gilman Street. If you go to the next page, you'll see that in the 50s, 1954 to be exact, that was when the boundary line changed between Fairfield and Bridgeport. The boundary line had run down the center of Ash Creek and around the Sandspit until then. But in preparation for the dredging that would be needed for the marina, they decided to cut through part of the Sandspit, about a third of the Sandspit, and have the boundary line be there so that Fairfield didn't have to ask for permission every time they dredged. So the next view, you see 1976. 25 years later, you see many of the wetlands are filled in with homes built. A 300-boat marina is in, the jetty is there. And it wasn't until the 1980s that the federal laws were enacted to stop the loss of our wetlands. If you look at the next page, you'll see the 2019 aerial view. Thanks to Jeff Stedman, he gave us a photo. This is a view of the area from a different direction 44 years later. The marina is larger, and it holds over 400 boats now. And as I said, the boats are getting bigger, so the holes are deeper, and that's requiring more aggressive dredging by Fairfield, deeper and wider dredging of the channel. And the next page is using my very poor Photoshop skills. I'm trying to show what it would look like, that same photo, if, you know, it's from that same direction, not the same photo. But if we lost the Sandspit in Great Marsh Island, you can see the lower part of Ash Creek becomes basically like a bay, and you lose the tidal wetlands. You also get a lot of residential flooding. So the next page, Fairfield Marina, required a jetty, which, as I said, prevents the sand from being deposited on the Sandspit, and the dredging operation removes sand. The next page shows, the first major dredging in 1957 and 1967, and at that time, the channel was 70 feet wide and 10 feet deep, okay? And even back then, the sand was being put on Jennings Beach. The next page, that was the stage dredging that I had spoken about, where the sand dunes were flattened, vegetation destroyed, because they used heavy equipment to go over the Sandspit. Fairfield used it as a staging area. They don't do that anymore. They use barges now. But the Connecticut DP required the area to be restored to its previous condition. So it was. Now, the next one, the dredging in 2019, Fairfield used a barge, but caused tremendous damage to the Sandspit because, they just chopped it off. They said, it would get the right slope over time, which it did, but it also, shortened the Sandspit quite a bit. But as I said, it was within the permit, so there's nothing we could do. The next page shows you the dredging trends. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. Yes, we realize there's a marina there, but we shouldn't let our tidal wetlands be destroyed to accommodate boating. We know the marina isn't going to go away, but there has to be some kind of a balance between the dredging not being so aggressive, maybe being more frequent, a little shallower, and then having the dredge sediment put back into the tidal wetlands. Another cause of the erosion, if you go to the next page, is, of course, natural events. Irene and Sandy had a huge impact on the erosion of the Sandspit. And on the next page, you see Irene before and after, well, not really before, during pictures. You see the washover on the left side. And on the right side, you see how it basically washed vegetation off of the sand spit. And that was just a tropical storm. That wasn't even a Category 1 hurricane. The next page is Sandy in 2012. The 4 pictures are at the top, and the after pictures are down at the bottom. And that particular storm also created a channel that almost made the sand spit into an island. And once that happens, then the sand spit disappears pretty soon after. But luckily we were able, the channel filled back in the sand. So there's a 4th cause of erosion, and that's on the next page. Rising sea levels from global warming. And this is happening up and down the entire coast. The marshland keeps growing higher. It grows on top of its old, decayed organic material, but it can't keep up with the pace of sea level rise, because sea level rise is just occurring too fast. Now, on the next page, you see the habitat restoration of 2008-2009 from the staged dredging, and so we were involved with that habitat restoration. Then another one in 2011, which is on the next page, and that one was caused by something that the city of Bridgeport had done. They caused damage to the sand spit, so that was under the order from the Connecticut DEP, so we got that replaced. But unfortunately, those plantings got washed away by Sandy. So on the following page, you see a detailed plan for habitat restoration, which we developed in 2014, because at that time there were a lot of sandy funds that were coming into Fairfield and Bridgeport, and we wanted a shovel-ready plan, and we wanted to take advantage of that, and we actually got the first selectman of Fairfield and the mayor of Bridgeport together in the room, and we all agreed to this plan, and then the players changed, so that never occurred. That would have cost about $300,000 back then. Today it would be about $500,000. But the frustrating thing is there are tons and tons of grants coming through right now. There's like $3.45 billion in FEMA funds for resilience grants that are just coming through, available to municipalities. Some of them don't even have matching funds requirements, and we cannot get Fairfield and Bridgeport to sit down at the table together and go after these grants. So it's very frustrating, and as a grassroots organization, we don't own any land, so we can't go after the grants. They have to do it. The will has to be there for them to want to save the tidal estuary. So next page is our recommendations for habitat restoration. We would like to see Fairfield scale back their dredging and place the sediment back in the tidal wetlands. We'd like to see Fairfield and Bridgeport go after federal funds for habitat restoration and update that habitat restoration plan from 2014, which, sand spit is no longer like that. It's a different shape, and needs to, it's a different height, different landform. So it needs to be revised. But a lot of it still holds true. And then we would like to have Fairfield and Bridgeport jointly manage the tidal estuary, including the sand spit. They're doing it further up the watershed in the Rooster River. They're building retention ponds. You've got the 2 municipalities working together, and they're working together beautifully, and they're going after funding together. If they could just come down the watershed, follow the same watershed, just come down a little lower, we would like to see them do that. And so the next step, this month, we hope to see 42,000 plugs of American beach grass being planted by Fairfield and Bridgeport. We'll buy the installer that they've got. That's going to cost about $90,000. And then we're trying to reconvene a Zoom meeting that we had 6 months ago, where we had all the players, all the decision makers on the call, about 20 people. We had our state reps from Deerfield and Bridgeport. We had Clearfield officials, Bridgeport officials, Circa, MetroCon, Connecticut DEP. And now, 6 months later, we want to do a follow-up call because not enough progress has been made, and we want to hold their feet to the fire. On the following page, you'll see for more information, please visit our website. It's got this really cool website, www.saveourspit.org. Kind of a catchy name.
Can't believe you got that.
Yeah,
So, any questions on that? Because I also want to talk about the dock that when that's going in.
I have a question. Why can't you go for a grant because you're not part of the city?
Because we don't own the land. You know, we don't own the land where the remediation would take place. The landowners are Aspetuck Land Trust, Bridgeport, and Fairfield.
Oh, yeah.
And usually it's municipalities that go after these
Right.
big grants. For the non-matching grants that we uncovered, the average grant is $250,000.
Is there a Bridgeport Conservation Department, or?
No.
No. And they don't
We
have
are getting a sustainability director, though, finally. So that's the closest we've got.
Did they get any grants for the Rooster River?
They did get grants for the Rooster River.
Or are there people that are working on that would consider taking what they learned in their working relationship and lend it to this cause?
We're trying.
Yeah.
We're in touch with all those people. We're trying to get them, we could basically keep the same group.
Mm-hmm.
Move the focus of attention, down. southward.
Yeah, the shame is that when the sand spit's gone and people's houses get flooded, then they'll get together and take care of it.
Right.
If that's what's going on upriver, is the flooding is the cause, the big problem.
Right.
So,
So we've already got some significant erosion on some of the homeowners, sites. And they've been calling us, what do we do? What do we do? Well, it's like, I don't know of a program for individual homeowners.
Can they just call the town versus City of Bridgeport and just make their voice heard or get petitions signed to get more attention?
We've done all of that.
You have?
Yeah. We've been at this for 18 years, and but there isn't the will there in Bridgeport to really care about conservation the way there is in Fairfield. And here you've got competing interests. It's wonderful. You're all very concerned about conservation, but you've got the boaters and the marina, so you've got conflicting interests within Fairfield, whereas in Bridgeport, there's just no interest. So that's where we've been caught, as a grassroots environmental organization, not having the will of even municipality to act.
It seems like what is being mentioned about upstream and the Rooster River flooding, if you can convey to the people downstream that they're next in line.
We went door to door, and there was so little interest.
Should they think that it's just gonna come up high and they can put a boat up to the back of their house?
I don't know what they
That's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, bring the water.
A lot of people have just said, no.
It comes into my house.
We want
Yeah.
the brochure.
Yeah.
No, we're not interested. We
Yeah.
want the brochure.
We've
Wow.
given this presentation to pretty much every organization.
Yeah.
We've really been spreading the word. And we've had some success because we did get Bridgeport and Fairfield to come together in this room.
Mhm.
And jointly put out this bid, and, they're gonna do plantings. The bid has been, a buyer, or contractor's been selected, and, we're meeting with, the special projects, planner tomorrow, and hopefully they're gonna get the work done this week too. That's like a stopgap really to plant, some beach grass on the spit, in case there's a washover, so we don't lose it. We have been able to do something, because, that would have never happened if we didn't keep barking and barking.
But it's not enough.
No.
It's it's nothing.
But I think you mentioned competing interests in Fairfield. I think you will have competing interests in Black Rock as well. Not so much necessarily on the sand spit, but on this next subject with the docks.
Oh, yeah.
Literal rights, literally, no pun intended, anybody, and with this general permit, it's just mail it in and get it back. And, oh, by the way, Tim Bishop, here's a COP that's been approved. I hope you got it in the mail. This abdication of acknowledgement by local entities, and it's not unique to Shellfish. We're seeing it with harbor management and other groups where they're sort of fast-tracking everything.
Well, that's a nice lead-in to...
So before,
before you go.
First of all, what can we do to help you guys? I mean, we're obviously working on some shellfish and oyster restoration projects on our side of it. I don't know of any that could bleed over to the sand
I think
spit.
maybe on the back half of that island. So the
Yeah.
front half, there's too much wave action for oysters and that, and obviously the channel, we're not doing anything there.
Right.
But on the back half of that island, there are a lot of oysters growing in that little, it's sort of a cutout back there.
Yeah.
Adding some shell along the back half of the island and getting more and more oysters growing could hold up the back of that at least.
Well, what you guys could do is if there's anything that could be done, using the the fact that this is a natural shellfish bed, it's, the state has recognized it as, the whole lower part of Ash Creek is considered a natural shellfish bed. Anything we could do that would, say, stop, it's going to go into this in the next presentation, stop motorized boat traffic, so that you don't have the sedimentation, you're not scouring the benthic layer and disturbing the oysters. That would help because that will decrease the desire for docks, because a lot of these people are putting up docks to store their motorboats. They want the davits. They put up a huge dock, not so much to use it, but to store the boat in the winter. And that was when we were formed in 2003. This was supposed to be a temporary organization to stop the Gammon dock. I never thought I would be here 18 years later, working away at this stuff, but somehow we've now managed to get 4 docks in. So under our watch, we went from 0 docks to 4 docks. But we were told, by Save the Sound, they said you can't stop a dock. And then we worked for 18 years trying to figure out how to stop a dock. And, they got very frustrated with us, the Connecticut DEP, because they said they were spending way too much time in Hartford and adjudications with us fighting the docks. And so, this streamlined digging dock, process that came through in 2015, they sort of just snuck that in there, no public notice required. I mean, and no attention to sensitive areas. They're relying upon the local areas to put regulations in place. And that's what we don't have. We've never had Fairfield and Bridgeport get together and say, we're going to restrict, boating to non-motorized boats in the lower part of Ash Creek because it's a natural shellfish bed. We're going to restrict the docks because it's a tidal wetland, and because of the shellfish. The 2 municipalities have to create some kind of a commission that oversees the lower part of Ash Creek. It's been done in Norwalk, it's been done in other areas, and just have a legal entity that's jointly between 2 municipalities that set down local regulations. Because you can't just have one set of regulations for one half of Ash Creek and another set for the other half. As soon as the boaters do something wrong on one side, they'll just scoot over to the other side where now, and then the police boat comes in and says, well, they're not on the side, So, anyways, well, let me take you through this really quickly. Okay, so docks and Ash Creek, okay? the, 50 Bay Edge Court, that's the fourth dock in Ash Creek. As I said, we started with none in 2003. The Ganem dock on the Bridgeport side was the first one, but we got that cut back severely, and we got the davits removed, and that dock was supposed to be twice as long as it is, and they never use it. It's not used. And it made no sense to have a dock on the Bridgeport side, because frankly, all the water is on the Fairfield side, as you know. I mean, that's the only place that has any water at low tide. And it's a low channel, but still there is some water. And the next one to build a dock was Mears, but that was a small dock. And then we got that one cut back too, though. That one was shortened. Toner, we fought Toner for so long, but he's an attorney. He represented himself, and he's pretty savvy. I think he was on your harbor commission at one time. And so anyways, we did actually get the state of Connecticut to accept the fact that they have more latitude in making judgments on docks than they thought they did. So that was a win in that sense, that they now can consider the use of the dock. Prior to that, they couldn't consider the use of the dock. The fact that this guy Toner was going to put a big power boat there and put it up on davits, they couldn't consider that and what that would do to the, to the benthic layer. But they can now. And now we've got you, who slid in under this really nasty 40/40 dinghy dock.
Can you go over that?
Regulation.
You know
Yeah,
about it?
I'm gonna go over that.
Yeah. Do you mind going back really quickly, though, to the restrictions on larger power boats? Like,
Yeah.
So that was something that was an amendment to the original law, or they just didn't realize that they had the power to?
They didn't say, typically saying we don't have the power to regulate the use of docks.
Mm-hmm.
And our attorney, who is pro bono, Barry Hawkins, who's great, he said, he argued with them that they did have the authority to regulate the use of the docks. And they accepted it. They understood once he laid it all out that they did have that authority, and they started to use it. And they used it for the Toner dock.
And what was it, just real quick, was it just like they could restrict the size of boat, the fact that it's motorized versus not motorized?
Well, you could consider what the damage, not just building the dock is
Yeah.
going to do,
Mhm.
but the damage the motorboat could do. And in that case, it was scouring the benthic layer, okay? And so the approval of the dock required a survey to be done of the benthic layer, like, I forget how often, but they had to keep doing periodic surveys
After.
of the benthic layer,
Got it.
yeah, if he built the dock.
Got it.
So, let's see, there is, unfortunately, we have an engineer figure how the total build-out scenario for the lower part of Ash Creek, if everybody who legally could have a dock, built a dock, and there's 24 docks that could be built. So there's 20 more that could come.
Mhm.
So we have to think about these docks, because if you get 24 docks in the lower part of Ash Creek, it's, going to look ridiculous, and it's going to have an impact on the shellfish, the navigation of, kayaks and canoes, and,
The main problem we have with boats that are not in a marina is there's no ability to really pump out unless you go into that marina and use their pump out station.
right,
So there's a good chance that some of their sewage can get in the water.
yeah,
And, it's an example, Mill River, where it's restricted relay from November 15th until spring, and then once the boats come in, it goes to prohibited for that reason. That there's no way of knowing if anyone's
right.
dumping, so.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that could be done if, Fairfield and Bridgeport got together and just had some regulations for Ash Creek. Now, this 440, dinghy dock legislation that snuck through in 2015 is problematic because there's no public notice. There's no way any of us could know about this. your harbor commission was notified. That's part of the regulations, is that the harbor commission of the town has to be notified. But unfortunately, and I looked up, it's in the minutes, it's there, but they didn't notify anybody. So they got the notification, they didn't say anything. It went into the land records in Fairfield, but because they didn't apply for a building permit at the building department, nobody was alerted to it. So none of the right forces came to bear.
I mean, when I saw the crane and called it in, no one knew anything at that point. And then an hour later, they said, Harbor Commission did receive a letter, whenever that was, so.
Yeah.
And then you called me an hour later.
Yeah. Yeah, because, we had all of our members calling us like, well, what are you doing? You're asleep at the switch. You're not reading the public notices, It's like, there was no public notice, So anyways, then the barge, of course, got grounded. And that was on February 23rd through the 24th. The barge was sitting there, at low tide. The Connecticut DEP says they need proof of damage to assess any penalty, because we got Kevin Savoy to actually call the construction company in Rhode Island, Atlantic Marine, and, but, I mean, can we prove any damage, or?
I mean, I don't know. We
Broken shells.
Yeah,
There's some drone footage out there.
yeah. How far back did they
From
go?
like 3 months before.
Yeah. Was it low tide?
Yeah, it was fine, yeah.
So can we get
I
another?
can find out.
All right, let's see if we can do that.
Yeah, I gotta discuss that.
Have you taken
Tim Bishop, would that be a problem?
Tim here. Say that again, John?
The barge that's building that dock was, grounded, and Ash Creek Conservation Association reported to the Connecticut DEP they need proof of damage to penalize the company. There is drone footage out there of that area. Is it something we should be asking for, or would that be a problem?
No. Do you know who has the footage?
Yeah, Yukon does. I'd have to ask for it.
Okay.
You're saying that was
What's
prior?
for spring?
I don't know if they got all the way back there, because the drone could only go so far up because it got into Sikorsky airspace. But there's possible pictures of it. It would show what was there at low tide.
Then we need new drone footage.
Yeah. Or go out there at low tide with just a regular camera, right? Because I'm sure you can access.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Oh, I could look into it.
You want to look into that, and I guess in the meantime, I can try to go there this weekend. From Solid of tight schedule, just take a walk out there and wait.
Excellent, that would be great.
Just crush shell or anything, it's not.
And take some photos.
Yeah.
As you see on the next page, we captured the grounded barge. We've got photos of it. And then on the next page, you'll see the plan for Bay Edgeport for the dock. And then on the following page, docks in Ash Creek, they're only useful at high tide. It's a shallow tidal estuary. And, I've always been concerned that docks intruding into the channel could interfere with kayak and canoe navigation, particularly on the Fairfield side. We know that this is a natural shellfish bed recognized by the state, so why are docks being built in a shellfish bed? It affects migratory shorebirds because predators tend to lurk into the docks, and that makes them wary of areas with a lot of docks. And this is one of 15 migratory flyover areas in the state of Connecticut. It would be a shame to lose our migratory shorebirds. And Connecticut DEP, who recommends that dock proliferation be managed at the local level. There's been enough of these battles, I know that pretty well. The next page, you see the 3 docks on the Fairfield side. The one way on the right is the Toner dock. The middle one is the Mears dock. And the one on the left, where there's just an outline, is the one that's being built. The 50-bay port review dock. So the next page, managing docks at the local level. There's all the littoral rights and that sort of thing, but, reasonable access to the water, which is the legal term, reasonable access, can be achieved by launching a boat from the shore, okay? The state acknowledges the cumulative impact of docks, but you can't stop one dock using that logic. You go before the Adjudication Commission, and there's no defined tipping point where it's one dock is one dock too many. So again, it's got to be at the local level that you stop it. We can't stop it in Hartford. A zoning overlay has been used with an environmental review process at the local level. Other areas have done that. Local regulations can prevent docks in environmentally sensitive areas. And in fact, back in 2007, Fairfield considered a dock proliferation measure. It never went anywhere, but they considered it. And on the next page, we talk about restricting power boats, which we just mentioned. And then on the final page, talk about some resources. One of our scientists, Steve Danzer, and myself actually wrote a paper about using public trust law to prevent dock proliferation, and we presented it at the NOAA conference in New London in 2007 at the invitation of the Connecticut DEP. And then we put together a model dock ordinance. You'll find that in your packet at the very end. I'm not going to go through that. You can read that yourself. And then also research from Safe and Sound on dock proliferation ordinances. And that's in the packet at the very end. And that's for you in case, you want to go into more detail on it. But, our concern is just if we don't do something now with this 4th dock, there's 20 more to come. And people, I'm a realtor by day, and docks, whether they're used or not, add value to a property. So people, are putting up docks like crazy. And especially now with this 440, you're going to see all these short little docks just going in because it's, they don't scrutinize them.
So, but with this new 440 law, or relatively new 440 law, and they're instructing it to be restricted by the local government, how do you make a change to a law? Who put that law? Is it the 440 law? Is that a Fairfield law, a Bridgeport law?
No, that's a state law, but it can be overridden.
It can be overridden, okay.
At the local level. That's what the state always says.
Got it, but if you're...
All of their state laws on docks,
yeah,
it's, they defer to the local level.
But can you change, but if we're not being notified about it, like how do you go about changing that?
That's a real good question. We asked the Connecticut DEP to notify us, and they said basically no. No. You have to check in with us every few months.
Got it.
That'll be too late.
But the Harbor Commission was notified? Is there, that they have, all right, so as long as we have a very open line of communication with our Harbor Commission,
right.
They should be able to give us...
You gotta get them to send it over to you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Particularly if it's a shellfish area.
One of the big problems with that is, if we don't know about the dock going in and they decide to build it, July 1st, and spawning season for oysters is July 10th, and that's our biggest source of, natural oysters and that, and that's where we catch our spat and all that. It could, damage all that with silt, and when you start getting into that mud's got a lot of different things in it.
And here's the problem. They still haven't come to the building department with the dock plans, okay? And when they come, the Conservation Commission's gonna weigh in, I'm sure you guys are gonna weigh in on it. They're gonna get different stakeholders, to weigh in on this before, it's not gonna just get rubber stamped as an approval. So that means that we're into the spring migration, and the state won't let the dock be built during spring migration. So then now we're getting into June, and now you're getting really close to your sensitive time.
It looks like, do they have all their pilings in here, or do they still have?
Yes, they do.
So-
Yeah, they've already done that, the barge isn't coming back.
Right.
Yeah, no, they've done with that part.
'Cause everything that comes across through us, we have to put in different things about spawning season or silt barriers, buffer dams, whatever it is, and best practices in that. And with this, they basically could have come in and done however they wanted at any time, and it could have been a problem.
Right.
I don't know if we're stopping this one. It's gonna.
Delayed as long
No,
as you can.
yeah, we can delay it. I'm not saying we're gonna stop it, but I am saying the other 20, we
Yeah.
need to think about. And we really need to, I would like to see Fairfield and Bridgeport get together and start, if you've already, are starting to regulate the Rooster River, it's just bringing that same group of people.
Who is the group of people for Bridge, because you said there is no conservation department in the city of Bridgeport?
Sustainability and,
Well, they're not in place yet.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, that's coming. But John Uriquity is the guy.
Got it. Is he like
He's the city engineer.
city engineer?
So he's the equivalent of Bill Hurley, and they're in communication a lot.
Got it.
So those would be the two main people
What's the sorry, his last
right
name
now
again?
with Tim Bishop,
Got it.
on your side.
Yeah.
But those three people would be the ones to start with.
Got it.
I mean, if there was a powerboat restriction, it would stop all docks. No one really is gonna build a dock for a kayak.
Well, Mears did. He built one for a sailboat.
Okay, so.
Would change the economics.
Paddlecraft?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
but-
to have a pretty small sailboat not to want to motor on it.
Yeah, but but people still will build a dock just to, for financial reasons, because, a waterfront home is worth more with dock. So the 440 regulation is you're gonna see a lot more coming through.
Mhm.
I mean, is just putting a restriction of paddlecraft only something that you think could be a possibility? If we all,
Absolutely, I mean, you'll see in the attachments, and these, I've got actual examples of dock ordinances,
Mhm.
okay? We created a model dock ordinance, so, we did all the work, but we just couldn't get Fairfield and Bridgeport to move ahead back then. We're talking about 2003 to 2007, when we were really.
Why do some docks have to go through the whole process to get the COP, and others can use this 440?
Because they called dinghy docks. The whole idea was, I think, more inland on ponds and
No
lakes.
marshes.
But when it gets to tidal wetlands, they said that they screwed up, okay? They should not have approved this dock just, the way they did because of the tidal wetlands. They should have given it more scrutiny and probably should have come to Fairfield, talked to, at least Tim, about this and gotten a better sense of what was going on in this sensitive area. They could have also picked up the phone and called us. I mean, we're calling them all the time. They could have said something in one of those emails and phone calls, because we're always in touch with them.
Maybe this is naive, but does the onus have to be that we need to prove that damage would occur, or can the onus be placed on the homeowner to show what studies do you have that what you're proposing to do won't cause any damage to the underlying everything?
At the local level, you can do anything. You can just say no docks. I mean, at the local
But
level.
instead of saying no, you can just say, show us it's not gonna damage anything, invest in that.
You can
So it's
do,
not just
at the
plopping
local
your-
level,
Yeah.
you have a lot of latitude as to what you do and how you do it.
But at what point can you have local law trump littoral rights.
Well,
Because
that's-
littoral rights
That's,
those are federal rights, those are not.
yeah,
local.
but
And
there is,
people-
yeah,
That's
you
a
gotta,
real concern.
yeah, well, take a look at the papers, okay, believe me. I mean, the Connecticut people are taking us on that, okay? And we have written papers and different talks on it. Just take a look at the three papers, and you'll see, it's not as ironclad as you think,
Okay, that's good to know.
yeah.
I know, Westport put in, there's no hunting on Westport property, but you can actually hunt in Westport, and you may get a ticket from the town or whatever it is, but the state law trumps that,
Well,
it gets thrown out.
we've done enough litigation on this. We've spent over $30,000 on attorneys,
Mhm.
fighting 3 docks, over the years. And I can tell you that this is what the state says, local law trumps state law when it comes to dock regulation. And they will abide by it. You want to stop a dock, that's going to happen at the local level.
But it didn't happen with these three because, you guys tried though, right?
Because the Bridgeport and
Because you
Fairfield
couldn't-
don't
that's right.
have local regulations.
Got
There was nothing we could turn to.
Got
We had only the state law, and the state law is it's got to be regulated at the local level.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, we are meeting with Greenwich,
We can-
Greenwich
yeah.
Shellfish, because they have an issue with many, many ducks
Yeah,
going in. And see how they're doing with theirs.
yeah.
Well, at the Shellfish Commission meeting, we may bring that up too.
At the gathering, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be brought up for sure. Because they're having a big issue with it there, so. All right,
Thank you so
you
much.
guys got anything? Everyone's good?
No, thank you very
Thank you
much.
for coming down.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
really informative. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And these are ours.
Those
We can keep these?
Oh.
Oh,
You can
nice.
keep those. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Can you read my folder? It wasn't with my name tag.
There you go.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
If you can get your hands on any oyster shell, it'll help you out.
I like the article in the paper.
Yeah, that was a great
That was great,
article.
really.
And you got the thing about the donkey, the article. You were like.
You got that at the end there?
Got that in there. That was really great. I learned a lot too. It was pretty interesting.
All
All right.
right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, committee reports. Oh, no, sorry, we gotta go build some communications.
Do you want to approve, do you have to approve the minutes?
Yeah, we have to approve the draft meeting minutes of February 9th, 2022. Everyone had a chance to look at it. Any corrections, changes, comments?
I have nothing.
Yeah, I think everything was good, so.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of February 9th, 2022.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Motion approved. Go to committee reports, clam relay and planting. We'll be doing a relay or a planting, before we have our clam clinic. So sometime in May, depends on water temperature. Once it hits 50, if there's enough time, we can do a relay. If there's not enough time, then we'll do a market buy and plant that way. So that'll be our next stocking of the clam. Anything else on that? All right, water and habitat quality. Was that or Bruce?
Let me take it, or you'll take it?
Okay, so for the month of February, there are 4.27 inches of rain, and we're closed, the calendar year, we've been closed for 14 days. We're not closed at all in the month of February.
Nope, we're not closed. Anyone go clamming?
Yeah.
No.
You?
I didn't, but there was word there was people out there, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything else on water habitat quality?
Good.
I have something. So, I was taking a walk along Pine Creek on the edge of the old dump yesterday, and, there's some really nasty ooze coming out of that hill, going right into the Pine Creek there. So I don't know, Tim Bishop, I don't know if someone wants to take a look at that and see if that's something we should be concerned about.
I'm available.
All right, maybe I could take you over there one of these days at low tide.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay. I was shed hunting, by the way.
Were you hunting?
Looking for antlers. Permits and access. What is that?
So far we have sold 129 permits, 28 via mail, 101 online applications
Excellent.
for a fee collected of $2,280. Can we still do walk-ins to get our permits?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people,
But people are just, okay,
will just show up.
okay.
So let me, out of the 5 people here that are on the commission, who got their permit?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Bruce. Nice. All right, so.
I saved it for when we need a big burst of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Took a lag a little bit, the lagging.
What's the number?
No, whenever you guys have a chance.
I mean, that's still pretty good for, I mean,
129?
129
Meeting in March for 2 months, really, yeah.
for
It's gotta be
For March?
a record, I have to look back, but it's gonna be a record for the first 2 months, the first 3 months.
So I certainly think that newspaper article is,
I got a compliment on the hat at Equinox.
You did?
I told some people good permits. Yeah.
I'll just have to sell a bunch of the claim.
That's it.
So while we're on access, there's a law coming up for a vote in Connecticut, to take away the individual towns' control of beach parking,
Oh, yeah.
which, if it happens, we'll have to figure out what we do with non-resident permits. But the price will probably have to go up.
So what does that entail? Is it just nobody, just free parking and
Free parking, I guess.
no, the part,
How does it work?
the fee would be the same. In other words, if as a town resident, you pay $20.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That if you're a non-resident, you have to pay $20.
Got it.
And furthermore, you can't restrict parking in the general vicinity to say that you need to have a.
Which they did big time in COVID. Yeah.
And-
Well, even more than that though, because, so I grew up 4 houses away from Penfield Beach. And so I remember when we didn't have permit parking. And out in front of our house, every day, all summer, would be filled with cars, and at the end of the day,
Trash.
there'd be trash. And people would leave like chairs, like broken chairs, like, I mean, real trash. And I can remember like, and I was a kid, and like telling people like, I totally remember there's this one woman, and she like took me and like threw it, and it was actually at my godparents' house across the street, and I was like, pick that up. And the woman was like, it's not mine. I was like, it's not theirs. I can totally still remember that. And I was a kid, and I was like walking my dog, and I was like, what in the world? And granted, like when the permits came in, permit parking, you know, we weren't thrilled to have to buy a permit to park in front of our own house. But the idea of it being gone, I mean,
Yeah.
this neighborhood, it drastically changes the whole thing. I mean,
Who wants the, I mean, is it,
So,
who's behind this?
I don't know who sponsored the bill.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Our
New
problem
Haven?
is gonna be,
Got
we
it.
might be able to sell 1,000 permits or more, but we're never gonna be able to put enough clams out there to satisfy everyone. You know,
Where's the
even if we
vote?
have the money, eventually the clam, they'll stop selling to us, as, you know,
If they cap on it, you
they have
know?
to sell to market, so.
And people will take more than they should, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And they,
Trying to
you already do,
regulate
I'm
that.
sure, but like,
Right,
I think at that point, you have
When
to
is-
cap how many we sell.
Well,
yeah, we have to cap it, yeah, you're right.
what do we think the demand is? We think it's so lopsided that people from out of town are gonna all of a sudden buy these permits? Is that what's keeping them from buying an out-of-town permit now?
They can't park.
Yeah.
That's why they don't buy in
All right.
the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone can now go to the beach all the time for, you know,
$20.
You're right,
Well,
you're
hopefully
right.
they'll all just go to Westport.
they'll say, oh.
Is it
$20
How do I get a permit?
It's
On the town
the same
website,
amount
buy
that
a
we
permit.
pay as a resident for,
Like year round.
No, you're right.
so they can buy a
Surely
$20
wouldn't have to
pass
happen.
and park year round as a non-resident.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of people against this, obviously, the people in the
Yeah.
coastal
Yeah.
towns.
I mean, I think,
Where- I don't know how-
there's a discrepancy between what it costs for people to buy out of town permit for, like, Westport compared to Fairfield.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference, and that's why this is coming about with these towns that have this, like, huge discrepancy.
What's it cost in Westport to park for the day?
$50
for,
so a permit for the year, for the season is like 700 and something.
for a
like-
non-resident?
For a non-resident, where I think in Fairfield, a non-resident might be like $100 for the season.
Okay,
And you have people that live in Block Rock that
yeah,
would buy them,
Yeah, it's a little more.
that grew up in
probably, but-
Fairfield.
yeah.
But it's just like, you know, you have the lockers at the Penfield that
Got
used to sit empty because they were reserved for out-of-town.
People that never use them. But this is basically statewide, so it's just gonna set the same pricing for all towns?
Well, they're saying that it has to be the same rate, and you can't restrict
Residents.
parking, so like
Got it.
Penfield, Birch, Lolly, Roland, all of that area, you can't have permit parking.
Well, so when the time comes, we'll have to deal with that,
Yeah.
but that's, it's coming.
When
But
is
now
that
it's just
vote?
but now it's just docks everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Southport Beach reopening, Sean.
We didn't have enough rain to get any samples, so it's sort of a washout month. I'm sure this month will rain plenty.
Yeah, probably not. Commercial shellfish regulations, no report. Oyster bed development. So right now, not much is happening.
Pretty quiet.
We do have to, consider approving some funds for a new motor, upkeep of the downwellers, materials for hats and things like that. So, what do you think?
I mean, the new blower is gonna be 500, at least 500, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe approve $3,000. You know, we don't have to use that, but that should be enough to cover us if we need
Yeah.
to do anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll make a motion to, approve, the use of $3,000 for oyster bed development. From the Shellfish Fund?
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Also, Public Works / Tom Course, it's conservation, but, is going to get together and get us some more gravel to go next to the downwellers, so we don't have to walk around in the mud.
Nice.
So,
Oh, yeah, we get the electrical graded as well, so that money can go towards that.
So, also, Tim's been picking up the shell, and been very busy with the whole shell collection, made up a flyer, was that in last month's, or, no?
Yeah, I brought it up last week, yeah,
Okay.
last month, yeah.
And then,
We
obviously,
got a couple of inquiries from.
Yeah, which actually, I spoke to both gentlemen on Monday night, who are both interested. It did actually make me think of something. I mean, they're interested in helping with the oyster shell pickups. I guess, I don't know, Tim Bishop, if this is a question for you. If they're using their own personal vehicles and they get into some kind of accident during the pickup of shell or something like that, how is the town liable? Like, is it something we need to be concerned about?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the same would apply to you guys coming to a town meeting, you know?
Yeah, but if they're specifically picking up shell and as a volunteer and they're not on the commission, is that what we have to worry about?
so we're
I don't
gonna,
think so. If you want, I could stick with council.
Yeah. We could throw them under the docks at,
Okay, as long as it's not an issue.
come on.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Very
we're
minimal.
covered, that's why we're not allowed to trash.
So if anything happens, it's just on them. Got it, okay.
We don't have a risk manager in town hall anymore, but if anyone feels a need I could dig further with Jim Baldwin.
I mean, if no one's concerned, I just wanted to throw it out there since they're gonna be using their own cars, and it's something more on a regular basis, so. The thought is to get, maybe do a monthly schedule so that you get people doing once a month. So it really wouldn't be that frequent, but just something to think about.
Almost the same as like having the people help us clean the hats, and if they cut their hand off.
I didn't know, because this is more like driving a vehicle, if they hit somebody, somebody might injure themselves, but if they get in an accident and injure somebody else.
Well, I would think that would be their,
Their own personal, yeah. If
I
it's
think
guys
you're
running-
volunteering to do anything.
Yeah.
Where have an accident, it's the same. You're volunteering at your school's PTA,
Yeah, but this is different, because it's
We could have
regular
sign a stack
transport.
of documents that say they won't hold us liable. Were they picking it up?
Yeah, all right, good. So anyway, got two people interested. I'm putting together a list, just a volunteer list. So if you guys know anybody, just shoot me an email with people that might be interested, and then we'll have a robust list that we can actually reach out to people for other stuff too. But both of these guys were into the oyster development stuff that we're doing in addition to picking up shells, so.
Yeah, like I said, Mark has definitely, he's the one who actually showed Eric and I where the steamers were at Sasko, and he's been out there all the time, and definitely been doing it for a while, so it's kind of nice.
Was this Mark Hope?
Mark Felici. So his kids are older. His youngest is the same age as Olivia.
Okay.
So I knew him from Stratfield, and he grew up in Fairfield.
All right. Also, Jimmy Bloom has offered to help with putting a shell in Ash Creek.
Very good.
So, I'm assuming it's our shell, but there's a possibility. He means some of his shell. So either way, it's a win. That's great.
wow.
And obviously we mentioned the gravel, we get a new motor. The busy time with oyster bed development is June, so. Right after the, clam clinic usually, boom, right into that, and then we get a break after that.
Do you have a date for the cram clinic?
No, but we'll talk about it in a little while. All right, communications.
Standard stuff so far, but what we're just talking about now, let's sort of shift it. So any of these things where we've got volunteers who are doing things that, they threw their hand up, if they're open to it, I'd love to have their name, what got them interested in doing this, a couple of photographs of them doing it. I think we did okay with volunteers for the recent stuff, but it would be great to just get the feeling out there that it's ongoing, there's big group events, there's individual if you want to get involved, that makes for more interesting reading. Question for you guys. So I have teenagers, but I'm not as up on this. Do they have officially volunteer hours in different high schools? I hear that term thrown around. I'm not quite sure.
So, I don't know, but right now, my son, he's a senior, and him and one of his friends are gonna come work for me. So, I have to pay them. So they're not volunteers, but they do that kind of thing the last month of the year.
Oh, they do the senior internships.
Yeah.
So some schools do, like Laurelton requires 15 hours of volunteer work.
Yeah, 15 hours total?
15 hours total is all.
Okay.
I think Coco did hers in like 2 gymnastics weeks.
Got it.
So
The
other thing
aquaculture
is,
school does require some
Which
kind of
does?
volunteer. Aquaculture.
Okay. I don't think Ward or Ludlow do.
they do, they have a key club.
Well, they have a key club, but is there a general populace in the school you're required to do a certain amount of volunteering? Key club, sure, they're gonna
Key
get
club,
opportunities.
yeah, key club only, I think.
I think for like National Honor
Honor Society, they all have to, I'll tell you,
volunteer.
right now, these kids are having a hard time getting volunteer hours because of COVID. There aren't as many opportunities as they used to have. I do know that.
Okay. We can tease it in there as well, if we're getting the idea that there's these different ways to volunteer, encourage your teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you put it out there that
There's,
we will give kids volunteer hours,
Yeah.
and you will get parents saying, my kid will be there.
Okay.
I know that, there were a couple of kids that were getting their confirmation,
They-
and I had them go and pick up shells on the beach. like buckets of shell.
This
you know?
year, or,
Oh, no, a few years ago.
yeah, because last year, I think, and this year, I think they dropped the,
No, they stopped.
well,
It's
because
over.
they dropped the
Yeah,
volunteer requirement. But yes, that's normally a thing too, is they have to get certain, I think she should
that's
have
when we
more
first
hours.
started collecting the shell, that was a while ago. And I said, oh, we'll go fill up these 2 buckets with shell, it's gonna take you about an hour or 2 hours, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
1 bucket equals 1 hour.
I think it took an hour to fill the bucket. Because the beach, the Satsville beach doesn't really get a lot of shell up through. But they did it. All right. That's it on communications?
yeah.
All right. Obviously, there was a story in the paper. So, you could put, make the front page, volunteer with the Shellfish Commission.
Make the front page of our post, or?
Well, we were on the
Local
front page
paper?
of the Connecticut Post.
Yeah, this is
That's the Citizen, we were in the, did you see the Connecticut Post?
Really?
and it was in patch too.
Yeah.
Patch
I haven't seen an actual.
I know, me either.
So,
That's the other half.
Nice, there's Johnny.
Look at that.
Hmm?
I think it's ironic that you have downloads in there, and now we've got Ash Creek.
I think the entire generation we were just talking about doesn't really know what the front page is.
Yeah, exactly.
Homepage, they know that. Homepage,
make the homepage.
TikTok feed might
Yeah.
get them.
Make the website.
Good trending with that.
Yeah.
All right, downwellers, put in some more stone in, we're getting a new motor. Everything should be fine from last year. We'll check for leaks and, you know, probably be starting it up when we,
Yeah, when do we wanna start it back up?
when the water gets warm enough, most likely, right? We'll check the temp of the water.
I mean, but do we wanna move any of that stuff beforehand? I mean, does it matter if we move it before the?
No, it's just extra cleaning on the,
Yeah.
either way,
Oh,
the
the
water's
water's
clean over there, clean over there.
Yeah.
And then there's a potential for clams in the downwellers this year.
Who were we talking to?
Norm Bloom has the big bins of little tiny clams, he tried them in his upwellers, and I guess it's working, so they're gonna get a lot, millions of clams this year, and, I think we're gonna be able to get 100 to 150,000.
Pretty cool.
If we can grow clams in there and it's successful, then we can move on from doing relays and market buys and things like that. Great.
What's the maturity period?
Life cycle of a clam, I'm not sure. I'm guessing about the same as an oyster, maybe? To get to 1.5 inches? I don't know,
Probably depends on, like oysters, depends on how warm the water is.
yeah,
The warmer that is, the faster they grow.
yeah, the more food. I think, did I send you that ever, Sean?
What's that?
The, life cycle of a clam.
I don't know.
I had it in my phone forever, saving it.
Sounds like one of those ABC after-school specials, like,
Bird
I was
clam.
just a bill
It is.
on Capitol Hill, the life cycle of a clam.
They can live up to 30 years.
So much
so 4
animated.
inches of length. Do you want me to just email this out to you guys?
Sure.
I think I got everyone. Tim Macklin, Sean Cohen, Tim Bishop, Bruce Kiefner, Cindy Wakeman, Todd Kenke, Lizette Enhofer. Good?
Yep.
Mhm.
You should get it in a minute. And that's something that you could put in like a post or something?
Yeah.
But you might wanna just fudge it up a little. It's from Barnegat Bay.
Yeah, let me check it out.
Change the name. All right, reports from Conservation Department. We got a shellfish fund balance at the moment of $31,011.45 as of February 28th. We'll be using some of that, obviously, for clams, and the clam clinic is expensive, and so we need to use money anyway. Obviously, shellfish permits are 129 through the 28th. Closure period, 14 days this year. And I guess the budget status just stays there all the time, but was the budget approved, Tim?
Going through that process now. It's pretty simple because there were no changes.
Right. Okay. Old business, discussion of proposal to dredge section of channel in Lower Pine Creek. Any updates on that, Tim, or still the way it was?
It's unchanged at the moment. Still trying to go through the channels in town hall to get the answer regarding applicant information and signatures. So I'll try and push some more tomorrow.
All right. All right, let's go to a new business. 2022 Spring Clam Clinic. So we've decided that we're going to have a clam clinic. So now we have to pick 2 possible dates, and then we should have not groups, but people just that can do certain things. So normally I take care of getting the clams and working with Conservation Department, Ed Jones and Tom Course to get all the rakes and everything together so that they can bring it down. We need someone to handle possible advertising and the banner. We have a banner that we hang it over in Sherman Green. It's just a banner. The date gets changed on it every time.
We still have it. It's the same banner, we just changed, they just put on,
They got changed.
got it. Is that banner in the, is
It's
it
either in the trailer or it's in a bin of stuff.
Communications, we'll take that.
Yeah, I think, let me just say, I think I have the vendor list from Allison that she used.
And then we need someone we normally give out prizes for finding painted clams to the kids. We need someone to sort of go around and see if they could get some minor gift cards or we'll put something together with some of our money and get some prizes for the kids.
I'll forward this, document that Allison put together,
And then we need people to reach out to different organizations that may show up. Mainly is just Sea Grant and Mill River Wetland. We really don't want too many organizations because it ends up with, there's no parking for the people coming to the clinic.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue.
So,
Right.
Even our cars, we want to limit, the amount, or try to park them in a spot where it doesn't, because we get a lot of people at this thing, so. We usually leave it up to Conservation, Tim, to, hire a police officer for I think it's something like 3 hours, half an hour before.
Yeah, no problem.
4 hours, I guess it is. So, you can handle that.
Yeah, all I need is the date once we finalize it. We deal with them all the time with the shooting range, so it's not a problem.
All right. And then the tent, I have to call and get a crossbar because we spent one of them, or 2 of them. So I'll order a couple of those. On the clams, we could spend, most of the cost goes to buying clams for the clinic. So if there's a potential for a relay, it costs us about $2,500. If there's no relay, we buy market, we'll probably spend $1,500 max. So we want to approve some money for the clam clinic, between the clams, the advertising, the prizes, water bottles, water, ice, and all that stuff, bags. We probably need to approve $5,000.
I think it's what it was in the past, yeah.
And then we also, in the past, we've served clam chowder.
Yep.
I make the Manhattan, and Bruce is gonna make the New England.
Sure.
Can you?
I can get
Have you made
Eric
one?
Yeah, could you?
Give me the clams, I can make the chowder.
Can you? No, it's,
I mean, it's just milk and onions and,
yeah.
Eric's got those big pots in the,
Eric was a chef.
Bunsen burners.
Yeah.
Oh, you want, maybe Eric can make it.
I can.
Got the hardware.
Or Eric and Bruce.
Yeah.
I can get Eric.
oh, I mean, I
Eric
saw
makes
you
a
making the
good
clams down there that one time with your little.
Oh, yeah. Oh, was that, went out
That was
there?
for the people who are writing the articles.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Are they allowed to have a food truck down there? Would we ever wanna invite a food truck?
I think they need to get a permit.
Got a permit?
Yeah.
Be nice to have
What
like
about that
lobster
pizza truck?
craft or pizza, so it'd be nice to have
That's
it.
pizza, well, they don't have room for it.
Yeah.
Can they need to get a
Yeah, yeah,
permit to
yeah.
go to Sasko Beach with it?
I think
Yeah, we don't have
to
room.
sell down there, you'd have to get a permit. So if the vendors, like, it's a contract, or it's a bid or something, I think. The last thing I saw down there was a very small cart.
We want live
Let's just
music,
get
I
the
don't know, last
first
time we
go.
talked about live
Yeah.
music and.
So,
I was thinking about it.
all right, so let's get this together. You're gonna handle, Sean's gonna handle
The banner.
the banner.
The vendor list,
Communications.
it's, the people that we've used in the past is on there.
Vendor for what?
For the signage, to get the new.
I thought it was already done. It's not
No,
done.
We have to
change
bring
the-
it so they can change the
They
date.
changed the date.
So we have to bring it to somebody that they've officially changed the date.
Yes.
Okay, what's that vendor list?
I just emailed it to everybody.
Perfect.
All right, and then, so I'll handle the clams and conservation staff, not you, Tim,
Yeah.
mainly Tom and,
We usually
Tom and Ed.
meet the night before and look, I mean, we need
Yeah.
tables, all of the stuff that's in the trailer.
What's the
tables.
difference between a relay for 2,500 and market for 15?
So really, it's hiring a boat to harvest, clams off of our natural bed,
Oh,
and market is just buying market clams in the bag. So, the relay, we get about 120 bushel for 2,500. On a market buy, we get, so the difference will go, with a relay, we get about 40,000 clams, and with a market buy, we get 2,500 for 40,000, and 1,500 for about 9,000. So market doesn't have to sit, you can just dump them in and they can be harvested. So we've done market in the past because we can throw them in 3 days before, shut the bed, let them dig in, and then when we have the clinic, we know there's clams there.
It's so crazy, you know, when people are just like,
That's one
taking
thing.
down, you're just pulling them up.
Sometimes the clams have dug in so far that people still can't get them. For some reason, they've dug like real deep, and everyone's like trying to find clams, and they're asking the volunteers, just us, you know, where are the clams?
Where are they?
I can't find them either, but I know they're here
They're here.
somewhere.
Then you've got one in your pocket, right?
Good idea. All right,
So,
Tim, can you handle advertising? Do we need to do that anymore?
We used to do the peach jar thing, but it really wasn't worth it.
What thing?
I don't know.
So
I think just putting the stuff out in the
Just Facebook
Facebook.
and
Yeah, we got such a big
in our
turnout
email,
last year.
so we don't need to spend any money on that.
Let's pump it through social and
Yeah.
consider that the
I
most
think we're-
efficient way to do it.
We were
Yeah.
dropping like $1,500 on that, right?
That peach jar thing, yeah, and I gotta be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not to go.
Get it
crazy
on.
with that thing.
I don't know if,
However you get on stuff like
That's
that.
fine.
yeah, Patch or like.
Fairfield Hamlet Hub and all that stuff, we'll
Yeah.
hit it with them, they'll
I'm gonna hit it.
retweet it.
Calendar events, like if you see like what's going on in Connecticut, I don't know how to get on one of those like calendar things, if that's expensive.
Tim Bishop.
Yeah, I'd be happy to reach out to, my contacts at the Patch for the citizen.
Oh, yeah, that's a great
Right.
idea, write this weekly letter.
And then for the town employees that come down from conservation, and I think Joanne, I don't know if she volunteers her time, she used to come down to write up permits. We have in our town budget, there should be money to pay, overtime.
Yeah, that's not a problem either.
Yeah, all right.
Can you get Brenda to put it in her weekly letter, like the week before?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm making a note of that now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have to get some, Brenda down there, that's right.
She is interested.
Okay,
All right, and,
well, we wanna start looking at dates, or do you wanna?
so Bruce,
I don't know.
was that,
Yeah.
and myself will handle getting together some clam chowders,
Yeah.
all right? And, you know, obviously we gotta buy bowls
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's if we can get through Globe,
What?
like
The
the
paper
bowls.
Oh,
little-
yeah.
No, just big hot cups, just.
Yeah, we've done cups, we've done
Yeah,
a
they
little
do. They put
regular
the
bowls. You mean like the little styrofoam things?
I think the more bowlish, the more you need an adequate number of spoons, and if you throw it into a styrofoam cup, people can drink it.
Yeah, we can
That's
take
true,
coffee
that's
cups,
true.
but-
I mean, you can have spoons, but you don't have to have a spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the styrofoam.
Yeah, we
Like paper
should,
cups.
we should really have paper cups,
Yeah,
not styrofoam.
yeah.
No, no styrofoam.
We'll throw the styrofoam in the water when we're done.
Yeah, along with the golf ball.
Exactly.
Alright, paper cups and no spoons. Okay, no,
You did little 5-ounce cups?
yeah, we can get all that right.
We
So,
We do that later.
that
Yeah.
will be on that,
Yeah, that I can handle,
How much chowder do you make? 5 gallons, 10 gallons?
I make a pot that's about this
5
round
gallons, Yeah,
and that high,
5 gallons.
so not even 5 gallons.
like, that's a, like all my husband
Yeah,
and
maybe
I
that's
make
a
is
5-gallon pot.
quantity, so if you
Yeah.
don't wanna worry about it, like, he'll take care of it. If that's easier. Yeah, you like that idea? Like
So it's
Harry
not
would
for
set
a
up like
meal,
that.
it's just
Yeah.
to sort of sample some
Yep.
chowders. But it's been cold before where people really wanted the chowder because
Yeah, if it's raining, yeah,
Yeah.
It was raining that one time I went.
yeah,
and the water's cold, and so,
All right, Kentucky Derby is May 7th, we shouldn't do the 7th.
no.
too early.
Yeah.
So we've done it in May, and it's been too early, it's
Cold.
freezing and raining. So pick the 2 low tides in June. Are we doing this on a Saturday or Sunday?
I'd say Saturday.
Saturday. So 2 low tides,
We used to do Saturday with a rain date on
and we
Sunday.
try to start
Do
it
we
at
wanna
like
still do
9
that?
o'clock, 9 to 11.
Do we
if
wanna do
possible.
the rain date?
So we
We
yeah,
do it Saturday for Sunday.
Saturday,
So we would
rain.
say, yeah, but then, I think one year we were just like, it's just Saturday and that's it.
Yeah, let's see. Well, let's pick the first date.
All right,
So does anyone have a tide chart for June?
I have to push my phone.
All right, so who, is not available in June?
I'm away a weekend, I think, at the end, I'm trying to find when it is.
Is anyone running a race up in the Rocky Mountains anywhere?
I'm running 50 miles in the Rocky Mountains at the end of
Oh,
June.
okay. I knew someone was probably running somewhere.
That's in preparation for my 100 miles in the Rocky Mountains in August. When is that?
Sean, I think you should do biathlon. Have you watched biathlon?
The skiing and the guns? I'm okay with the gun, I'm not a good skier.
Trust me, I'm a skate skier.
Do you do a lot of cross-country skiing? Have you ever been to a place in Vermont called Craftsbury?
No, I am familiar with Craftsbury. We go to Bretton Woods.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Washington.
Because I've gone to sculling up at Craftsbury for years, but, they have lots of cross-country skiing, but they don't teach you. And so I was sort of in the, I guess,
Well, I've
I'm
got-
gonna fall down on a bunch of slopes.
You will find, you would
I
like
don't know
it.
how to get to June.
That's right, it's hard to get that far in advance,
You know.
This one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm out there the 24th to the 24th to the 26th, what is it? Oh, that's 23rd, what is it? Am I looking here?
All right, here we go. So it's Saturday the 6th.
24th to 26th.
Um, 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, June 4th. That's a
That's
good
not
one.
bad.
That's,
9:30?
yeah.
That's almost perfect, could start at 8:30,
Yeah,
so
I'm
reading this
8:30
right.
to 10:30.
Alright, so if we do that day, Eric can't make chowder. No, my daughter graduates the night before, the day before.
I can make
Only
it,
day.
we'll just keep it in the fridge.
Freeze it, then.
Yeah,
And then the following Saturday, it's
no,
a.m.
that's no good.
through 20 p.m., that's too late.
So then it'll be 2 weeks after, so.
Yeah, so Saturday, 9/21,
Nine,
so
alright,
the
so-
18th? That's
It's
what,
either the 4th or the 18th.
I'd say the 18th.
I say the 18th.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go.
It'll be a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
Kids are still in school, right?
Kids are still in school, but it's
Perfect.
still warm and
Yeah,
it's warmer.
Yeah.
I'll
okay.
still be going to school on the 18th.
I'll be going to school probably till the 30th this year.
Yeah, right? Keep on this movie. All right, so
Saturday, the 18th, hello tide is 9:21.
Anyone have any conflicts that they can think of right now?
On that weekend, I'm good.
As of right now,
So, kind of hope that everyone's there.
you know,
You absolutely can't make it, you can't make it. You know, but
I'm in Massachusetts that weekend, John, but I'm not a commissioner, so 4th was better for me.
I think the prior chairman never went in the water or left his
he worked
chair
the
on the
permits,
beach anyway.
he still,
They worked
he
the
still permits, he still permits.
What's the time on that?
All right,
18th, 9:21 a.m.
are you okay with missing it, Tim, or?
I'll say 8.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be the wrench in the gears. I would, it is what it is. I'll be around for many years to come, hopefully.
Do you wanna try the 4th? It's his first one.
What about the 4th?
4th works for me, but like I said, I don't want to jam anyone else up with their schedule.
I'm good on both of them as of now. So.
As of now, yeah, same here. Memorial Day weekend is obviously the weekend before the 4th. I don't know if that has a bearing on it.
Is June 4th, is that Father's Day weekend or any kind of thing like that?
No, actually,
No.
Father's Day is the
18th.
The 19th,
19th.
the day
That
after.
Day after, probably.
It's a fine thing to cajole your kids to go to with you,
Yeah.
Father's Day.
I think it's worked before. I think, all right, so we pretty much got people on everything. Obviously, there's still Todd and Cindy
Yeah.
that'll get involved, but,
We can start honing the list.
yeah,
What about what Tim said? What about a band? Have you guys discussed that before?
a band.
Yep. Turn it into a party. Let people love it. Sign up for permits. Come again the next year.
What do you think?
I mean, we could reach out, I know one band, I don't know, if we could just.
That's just more people, more cars parking.
Yeah, it's equipment.
They come in a van, one van.
I know, but it's
What
really
about a
tight.
DJ? How about a DJ?
We could just play music if we needed music.
And I think the beach is so big, I can't hear it.
It's 2 hours, so I'm gonna say
Okay.
it might,
Well,
probably too much.
All right.
I mean, people are going, first
Because
off,
there
they
are plenty
wait.
of people there, just,
We've
they
got
need
it
to be
down.
in the
How about just like a couple of
same
bagpipers wandering around the beach?
Random back.
Kidding, not kidding.
Mariachi band.
Could be pretty cool, mariachi band.
From the beginning, when we first started
Come
doing
on.
them, it was kinda,
With the
we had
beach.
12
Yeah.
rakes and, there were 12 people there. But now there's 400
Steel
people.
drums on the beach?
we have-
Would be nice. Steel drums.
So people, they line up, they get
That'd be
their rent
cool.
to their family, and they go out, and there's a bunch of
Any
volunteers.
still drum players?
Should we bring rakes?
I'm gonna investigate.
So,
Steel-
if
Steel
you
drum
bring a
band,
rake,
I'm gonna make you say no next meeting.
You have,
That's.
You
you
have
have
to
to
make
keep
sure
it in
it's
your
telling you
hands
no.
all the time.
I don't know any
Drum
steel drum
engineer
bands.
is telling you no, if you
That's
like,
all you
you
need.
know,
I let
you're
someone
right.
use my rake, and they must have thought it was a
Yeah,
kid.
I've lost a rake too, I wouldn't bring, we have like 75 rakes, so.
We have 100 and change
Do it
now.
now?
Well, we've had 75, and we bought
Yeah.
another 60.
There's so many rakes there.
And you're kind of just wandering from person to
We have
person,
enough
helping
rakes.
them.
I mean, if you wanna bring yours just to use for yourself, but I wouldn't loan it out, cause I loaned mine out last year. and
We
it
should have like
sucked,
100 to 120 rakes, so. And then, we usually give out
Per
the
family.
little red bags that you get when you buy your clams or oysters to people to, put their clams in. And then when they're leaving, we have a couple of coolers full of ice, and we just put a scoop of ice on top of their clams and, so, I still think that if it's free, we're gonna lose permits. So, maybe by next meeting, we can think of something that, a pre-registration or something.
What about just
or
a donation jar?
some way that, there's a
Donation
permit
jar.
book at
Just a
least.
donation jar where we're giving out the
Maybe that's
rec.
part of it.
You know,
Maybe
it's like,
people come
you don't have to, but if you'd like to, I'm.
Let me posit one other side of it, a little counterintuitive. We've had 30 grand in the bank since I joined this commission.
Yeah.
We're not a profit-making organization. We're all here as volunteers, and this organization exists for the people of the town. It's a once-a-year thing. I don't think we ought to be that concerned with, we're losing money, we have the money to spend, we don't need to make it back to pay for the event, and I think it has potential for people to get interested and buy a permit. If we find that's not the case, then the downside is it's a service to people that do it once a year.
Can we sell permits on site?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. they'll get that impulse buy, this is fun, let's buy one.
I mean,
I don't wanna get
think
hung
that
up.
Oh,
if
what about family permits? Did we decide about that?
we, no.
No, because we have to either do it at the end of the year, we usually have to have a special meeting for something like
Okay.
that.
Real quick too, do we wanna have extra signage now, like one that says rakes where the red tent is, one that says chowder where the chowder tent is, one
Yeah,
that says
we should get a
informational?
couple signs made.
So maybe we can add that to the signage.
We want those signs made, like new signs?
Yeah, and what if they were just, yeah,
Where would, we've got the tent thing, where's the, you mean like a thing that just, two things in the ground that says rakes?
Yeah, rakes, yeah.
Okay.
Informational, like if we have Tessa there, permits, a permit.
Yeah, permits maybe. So with the online, we haven't had online while we had a clinic. So is it worthwhile selling the permits there? Normally what they do is you just fill out the form and they get the money
Yeah.
and then the
It's
permit
just-
gets
it's
done
a slow
after the
process,
fact.
because you're filling out everything by hand.
No, you don't need to give them the permit there, but we want
No,
their
they don't
name
get-
and their name.
They don't even get the permit there at
No.
all.
No,
Get
we'll
mail
mail
to them.
Yeah.
Even just having a place where you say, hey, do you have everyone's gonna have a smartphone, just
Yeah.
Mhm.
say here,
Bring a
here's
laptop
the
there.
URL, here's the laptop if you wanna use it, otherwise people pull up their phone, take care of it.
Do you have to have an online account to,
No,
like a
yeah,
password and a username?
yeah,
You do, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah, you have to set all that.
Most people have one of those things, don't they? Little golf permit and
Well,
beach pass.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
people do.
I mean,
can people pay by credit card with a?
Most people do, Sean,
With the
because-
online, they can, but not if they come in.
You know why they have it? 'Cause I
Yeah, but
think
when
they
we
have
sell
beach
them-
stickers.
that's what I'm saying.
When we
I
sell
look
them?
at the beach sticker.
We're not set up for credit card yet.
Okay.
Did we decide on the 4th or the 18th?
There's an issue with the fees on the credit card, right?
Yeah.
So, the chances of it being warmer on the 18th are better. We could do the 4th with a rain date of the 18th. 2 weeks later, so if it gets rained out on the 4th, and it's over an inch or something, 2 weeks later, we have a shot at it again.
Got it. Yeah.
In the past, it was closed, the bed was closed during the clinic. We let everyone harvest the clams and then dump them back in the water. But we had, 400, so we had 1,600 clams to hand out. We had market clams that were donated, and we just bagged up 8 and gave them to everyone. So, people got to go home with clams if they wanted them. And they took all 1,600.
We made the rest of the chowder.
All right, so what else do we want to discuss about the clam clinic tonight?
I think that's it. Was there anything in there that we forgot? That was Alice's presentation, and I just brought it for a reminder of things that we needed to. So if there's anything in there we did not discuss, then
Volunteer recruiting?
we can send that out. Well, hopefully we'll have a few more people on the list, so.
So we've done the first, second,
Yeah.
we're in pretty good shape. Volunteer recruiting, so that's kind of communications.
I just put another thing, maybe a volunteer sign where somebody wants to that point,
Yeah.
show up, what can I do, give them something to do,
Yeah.
sign
we
up,
get,
sign their sheet, whatever that
Yeah,
might be.
well, the other thing, we have a sign-up sheet for volunteers.
That's right.
That's a good, recruitment.
Yep.
Cindy might be good with the kids' activities and prizes.
Oh, yeah, we usually do like paint. They usually do paint a bunch of clamshells, and we throw them in there, and if a kid brings back a painted clamshell, and they get like a gift certificate, like Dairy Queen or something like
Yeah.
that. So it's just organize and go to a couple of businesses, or we just buy gift certificates or something on our own from the farm.
I have a chalkboard that was written on, with the clam and all that, and it's like I sort of smudged it, so I'll give it to whoever, and they can come up with their own chalking or whatever, I don't know, drawing. But,
It's like an Easter egg, you got the good Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. Because we did paint like 10 clamshells.
yeah, we started doing shells instead of doing the live clams.
Yeah.
But, it would be interesting always to see what a painted clam, and then see how far it grows if, no one finds it in a couple of years. All right. So we're good with the clam clinic for now?
Yeah, so we're just going with
What's
the
the date?
4th.
With the backup of is it,
Backup 18.
Okay.
And that's tentative as is now. If winter keeps going until,
We can push it.
you know, May 1st or something, we may decide to push it out a little,
okay.
because.
Yeah, we don't have to announce it until
Okay.
May.
Yep.
Right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
No one's gonna change their schedule.
Around.
They're around.
Of course, you're on Clam Chowder duty.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
New England, all the way.
Okay.
All right, Shellfish Commission recommendation form regarding installing a dock at 1143 to 1155 Sasko Hill Road. Cindy, are you still on the phone? So I was gonna get together with Cindy, so we went over the last meeting. Oh, you're here. Cindy, would you be able to help me write up the response for that? So we have all everything from the last meeting, and then myself and Tim were on a call with Tim Bishop and have about, 5 or 6 different points we want to get across.
And I think there's a couple of them we learned from here about.
Yeah, and then there might be more in there.
A few in there.
So we want to try to get that back fairly soon. I'm probably too busy tomorrow and Friday, but maybe early next week, Monday or Tuesday, we could write it up and give it back to Tim.
That's perfect for me.
All right. And so did you hear what I said about you handling possibly the kids' activity and prizes?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea. I'm happy to take that on.
All right, great. That's the banner.
Got it.
All right. Do you have anything to say about the clinic or anything, Cindy? I haven't heard you at all.
Stay quiet.
All right.
Not really. I have both the dates in my calendar. I'm going to kind of just go over some ideas in my head and see, if there's anything I can contribute to it. And we're still kind of in the early stages of it. But I'll think of some things and I'll just run them by you if I have any ideas.
All right, great. And Sarah, could you make sure that goes to the previous discussion?
Yes.
Thanks. All right, so on the Sasko dock, 1143 to 1155 Sasko Hill, anything anyone thought of, or just, we basically put together everything we talked about at that meeting. Myself and Tim did go down there and...
Which Tim?
Macklin. And walk out to where they said it was going to, and I walked out further, at least another 50 feet out. And at low tide, at a flat low tide, it is only a foot deep or less, so,
Which I think is even more problematic.
Yeah.
It's the concern if they do leave those boats there and don't get back there in case.
but so what they
What
said
tide
is,
changes around,
those
so.
water depths were correct in that, what you're saying. And, it is way down on the end, but it does still go on the bed, so.
Well, I question whether or not, despite what the town has said, that other landowners don't want to do the same thing and end up doing it.
Yeah, so that property has a conservation easement all the way around it, and the only place that easement isn't is in front of that boathouse. So that's why they're...
But they can go for the high water mark, they can.
Well, I don't know, they can't actually. So that Aspetuck Land Trust prevents them from doing that. But we do have to find out from the town lawyer if he can look into the deeds and all that, because that Aspetuck Land Trust, conservation easement was put in years and years ago.
And
So-
Mrs. Regal put that in.
Yeah, so, did that get split up with the subdividing, or how, what happened there? And
It
this,
should stay with the land.
it's
The
just
easement
that,
would stay with the land no matter how it's split.
okay, and do you know anything about, does the Aspetuck Land Trust, like conservation easements, is that in perpetuity?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the landowner can't decide, hey, I want that land back now, and so it's in perpetuity. Once it's put in place, it's done.
Yeah, it's filed on the town land record, so it would have to go to the Conservation Commission if they wanted to change anything.
Yeah. So, I think, we're pretty much set with our response. And then it goes through, there's more, they have to go through, jump through all the hoops that we jumped through for the, to put the downloaders in, which this is their first part of the application, and there's gonna be more to it. So after the state gets a response, see what happens. Anything else on that?
Nope.
No? All right, we already did Ash Creek Conservancy on the informational, so we're gonna go to Bruce, who sent out an email about a nitrogen study. Do you have any info on that? You wanna?
Yeah, I do. USGS, got money, and they're going into a number of, shoreline properties, rivers, actually, doing Mystic River and others. But specifically for us, there are gonna be 4 locations in Fairfield. There's going to be one on the upper Southport Harbor, still within the Yacht Club mooring area, or the North Anchorage. Then further south, so to speak, within the Yacht Club, and then out within the channel, which between channel buoys 9 and 11. So they'll have 3 buoys there for 3 monitoring devices, and then a 4th one over in Pasco Creek. And these will be connected by radio telemetry, and they will be reporting a variety of different conditions, but their objective is to take this and consolidate this information, not only with the USGS information and make it publicly available, but also create a repository so that we can take our information, or whether or not it's Ash Creek who's gathering data, and consolidate it so that everybody can see what's going on. So it's pretty cool. USGS representative is going to be at a Harbor Commission meeting next Tuesday, and will be presenting what they're doing and answering questions. And that will be either in person downstairs at 4:30, or you can just call in. It might be quite interesting,
Yeah. And everyone got the email, right?
I didn't send it to everybody.
Oh.
I should have, but I didn't.
Oh, so I'll just forward it to the rest of the people. Okay. Yeah, that could definitely help us out, finding out the different levels in the different areas, because Mill River has the golf course right there, and,
Well, this part of it, they fought very hard to get any sort of USGS monitoring on the Mill River because of what Aquarian wants to do on the withdrawals from that reservoir. And finally, going back and forth with Aquarian, it was agreed that Aquarian would underwrite that monitoring, which is on the Mill River now. It's been installed, but they didn't have the money previously until Aquarian anteed up. Now, as we're talking about this development, they are funded, and this has never been done before.
Can I cut it off? Tim Bishop, does that have anything to do with that buoy we, just had no comment on?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was wondering the same thing. It sounds like the locations are.
Same buoy. They had a meeting.
Okay.
They had a meeting last week with Harbor Management and DEEP and the Army Corps of Engineers. They were all there for a variety of reasons. And the Yacht Club, they've agreed that the Yacht Club is going to, because the Yacht Club has a mooring barge, they will install it and maintain it. It's a fairly complex device. It's not just a...
Sounds like, well, based on what it monitors, it's pretty impressive.
They're doing flow and various different qualities, and it may be a little tricky. I don't know how they're gonna do it, over on Sanskrit Creek, because I don't know what the water level is there, but, they like to be at different levels, but if there's not enough water...
Yep. There's not much water there.
That's right.
Even where it comes out, and
Well, and that was the same problem that they faced in the channel, because the channel isn't very deep either.
Yeah.
And so in any case, but that's
All right. Thanks for the info. Anyone got?
I'm planning to attend the meeting next Tuesday anyway, so I could report any findings if others don't participate.
All right, great. Anything else, guys? Any others?
Gathering,
Oh, yeah, good point, yes. That's right.
what's the date in
April 4th, Saturday, April 4th, at New
Saturday,
Haven,
4th, yeah.
9 a.m.
April 4th or April 2nd?
3rd?
Oh, sorry, you're right, April 2nd, sorry.
2nd, okay.
Yeah, April 2nd, at, I think, she did put the time in there, but it usually starts at 9 a.m.
Usually 9 o'clock.
It's at,
It's at the Ag Station, right?
yeah, in, New Haven.
It's up by, you know where, Yale is? No, the other school over there.
Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, Albertus Magnus. It's right up in that area. New Haven. So did we all, you wanted to go, right? Was that?
Yeah, I wanna go to this one, I
All
can make.
right, Tim, Sean?
Should be able to go.
So I think everyone that will probably still be on board.
Yeah.
All right. We have a lot to talk about at that, so. No public tonight. Who's gonna make the motion to adjourn the meeting? Bruce makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Sean seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.